The meeting to order. Let's stand. Carol, can you lead us to the pledge, please? Carol?
Oh, sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I open the meeting for public comment. Scott Wander is on the list.
Good evening, everyone. Kind of unusual that I'm before you with public comment, but I felt it was important for me to make a statement at this point in your meeting because on tonight's docket, you have a specialty core sponsor application from Erie County Emergency Services, and it's because I'm not a member of the council, it was really inappropriate for me to have a conversation while that conversation is going on or interject with it because we are also a core sponsor. And so I just wanted to talk about our core sponsorship and give you a real quick background behind it. We've been a specialty core sponsor in the Wyoming-Erie region since we became the program agency in late 2007. So really about 2008 when we became a specialty sponsor. And we have worked very closely, mainly with Greg Gill as our program faculty, and we've really tried to do a good job to make sure that we're offering courses within the region. You've heard me on several occasions in previous meetings talk about our course sponsorship application and the fact that it was suspended for a period of time by the Bureau of EMS for the last renewal. And I've been very open with you in telling you the reason for that was because during that renewal, you may recall, there was a policy that was not included, and we could not include in our renewal application because ECMC, where all of our electronic files are stored, was hit with the largest virus that's ever hit a healthcare system in the United States at that time, so we couldn't provide this. We were discouraged that the Bureau did not just renew our application since the document itself was unchanged since the prior application. They were aware of the circumstance. Instead, they chose to suspend our ability to offer instructor courses. That put demands on all of the course sponsors. It put our instructors in a tough spot because they were unable to get to update classes, at least within the Wyoming-Erie region. So all of those issues are resolved. In my report, you're going to see later on that we have an instructor update course that is scheduled. We're moving forward in follow-up to our meeting that we had with the course sponsors in September to have CLI classes and so forth. So my message to you is, you know, we want to continue to serve you and be your specialty course sponsor, and if there's anything we can do to help strengthen that relationship or offer any classes that you don't feel that we are, or address any concerns that you have, please don't hesitate to see me. Thank you.
Do you have any other public comment? Is there a motion to suspend the meeting, regular meeting for business to carry out the carry?
So,
Do you have a second?
sorry.
Back to the system committee. I believe the system committee has a report on that.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
The Systems Committee received an application for a transfer of operating authority from the Perry Emergency Ambulance Incorporated to the Town of Perry. The Council is required under Article 30 to determine if the proposed new owner is competent and fit to operate the service. The Systems Committee has met and determined that the application, to the extent of our review, is complete. On March 7th, 2018, Chairman Brunner corresponded with Dana Jonas of the Bureau of EMS and requested in the same email that the DOH conduct the fitness and competency review on behalf of the Council. I offer a copy of correspondence by Chairman Brunner to Dana Jonas and others at the Bureau on March 7th as Exhibit A and ask that it be included in the record and transcript for tonight. Therefore, the Bureau of EMS and Trauma Systems advised Chairman Brunner that the Bureau completed the fitness and competency review and that there is no bar to the fitness and competency of the town of Perry and other named persons. I offer a copy of the letter dated May 1st, 2018 from Joseph Farrell of the Bureau of EMS as Exhibit B, and ask that it be included in the record and transcript for tonight. On that basis, the committee hereby recommends, and I so move, that the council determine that the proposed new owner, Town of Perry, based on the Bureau of EMS's fitness and competency review dated May 1st, 2018, is competent and fit to operate the service.
I have seconded the motion by the Systems Committee that the council determines that the new owner, Town of Perry, based on the Bureau of EMS fitness and competency reviewed and dated May 1st, 2018, is competent and fit to operate the service. On the question, or any questions, discussion?
Not for the transfer of operating authority. So the transfer of operating authority is somewhat different than a standard application. It only requires a verification of competency and fitness. There was significant correspondence that went back and forth. The application was returned for completion and verification of exactly who it was going to, and then further determined that it was going to the town of Perry versus a separate entity. The understanding is that the town of Perry intends to contract a third party to operate their certificate, which is well within the law, the Bureau's law, as it counts.
Any other questions? I have seconded a motion by the Systems Committee that the council determine that the new owner, Town of Perry, based on the Bureau of EMS fitness competency review dated May 1st, 2018, is competent and fit to operate the service. Before we do a roll call, is there any person who wishes to declare a conflict?
Do we need to be declaring the fact that we like work for them and but there's no conflict?
Your name is?
Carol Staffel. We need to do that? Looking at you, Chris. Yeah, okay. Okay, Carol Staffel. Okay, I work for Monroe MedTrans, Inc., and they are currently providing services for the town of Perry and Village of Perry ambulance, but I have no operating interest in the company. So therefore, I will vote.
Bill Stricker, EMS Corner of Wyoming County. I intend to vote.
Daniel Rogers.
What
same.
she said.
Yeah. And I intend to vote.
Thank you. Is there any person here who believes someone else has a conflict that he or she did not declare? Thank you. This is a roll call vote. A vote yea or yes is to approve the motion and find the operative fit conflict. A vote nay or no is to reject the motion and find the operative not fit or conflict. A total of 14 votes, yea or yes, votes are required for the motion to pass. Secretary Zimmer will please take a roll call vote.
Okay, we have 16 members here tonight, so I'll take the roll call vote. Barber.
Aye.
Barcy.
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes.
Burt.
Yes.
Fisher. Gill.
Yes.
Estrella.
Yes.
McCartan.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Santoro.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Staffel.
Yes.
Stryker.
Yes.
Trethas.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Zemrak, yes. We have a 16-person vote for yes, no, 0 for no. It passes.
The motion hereby is approved by a vote of 16-0. In anticipation of this affirmative vote, I have before me a letter to the Bureau of EMS informing them of this determination that I will sign at the end of this meeting. Mr. Mahoney, please send this to the Bureau along with the applications. That concludes this item. Thank you.
All right, we need a motion to go back to regular business. Turner, or you guys can.
And at this point, thank you. I will.
Run like.
All right. Sorry.
I just want to make sure we get.
The approval of the March 7th, 2018 minutes.
I need approval, motion to approve the minutes.
Turner.
Turner, Barber. Any discussion?
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're working together up here. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. There you go. Good job. There you go. Don't make me the teacher up here.
All right.
Opposed? Abstaining? Great. Passes.
Passes. All right. Correspondence.
Correspondence. I have 4. Received a letter from Gloria Grant Alfonso about suicide prevention intervention post-intervention course being held on 5/18 and 5/19. I think I forwarded that to you all. Bill from Hogan Willig, attorneys for bills for service. Application from Michael Shaw, an application to the Worms Council. Letter from the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance requesting our employer identification number. And from Erie County EMS course applications for EMT Original. That's all I have.
All right.
May I add something? I did receive a thank you note from the South Wales Fire Department for our donation for this past year. So I will give that to the secretary. If anyone, I'll keep it up here if anyone would like to take a look at it. That would be for the use of the hall for our meeting.
Okay, that's it.
Treasurer's report.
I apologize, I was not able to send my report electronically. It's for the first quarter so far, well, actually the first month of our fiscal year, which commenced April 1st. And there are copies here if somebody did not get one. If there's any questions, I will be submitting the claim for our 4th quarter of this past year to the state for reimbursement and the report. So that's, I believe, a little over $9,000. So we have received payment for all the first 3 quarters. And to date, we've expended $4,570. Do you have any questions?
Just under the professional fees, our budget amount was 500, but we've already spent 50.
Yes. We will, I know this past year we had made some modifications, approved modifications to the budget, and I think that is something we'll need to be talking about for some of the expenditures that we, some of the, what were we working on, I'm sorry, losing my train of thought. For the 501c3. What else?
Corporation.
The corporation for those charges. So I'm not sure how much is yet to be expected. That's something we'll discuss and look at as the year goes on. We can make a transfer at this point or take a look at it and make one transfer, at our next meeting. And approve that.
Are those all legal fees? I guess my only question is, we're the first month into the fiscal
Yes.
year and we spent 3
Yes,
times what
I
we
think
budgeted.
just for this 1 month, was it? I can pull out the.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'd have to look, offhand, I'm not sure. I did think that you had us hold off on
Hold
sending a
off on
statement
one
at
to
the end. But whether that's impacted what you're looking at now, or that hasn't come yet or not.
No, I didn't have that. I had his bill from.
These ones? These are the most recent ones I have.
Those have been, those for, these are for the CONs, which don't, here's the general matter. I think you have a copy. Oh, yes, this included are for general matters only, not for anything to do with any CON matters. This has to do also with bylaws and policies. Can you explain also what some of the charges may be for as far as our incorporation and for the corporation?
Sure, so there's, some filing fees with the state that would have been, shown there as a disbursement. And then I think just time from our office in terms of preparing the articles of incorporation, arranging your filing, things of that nature. I did not directly do that, so that's why I'm not feeling bad, because I'm not really in the best position to speak to it today. But I can certainly, ferret out whatever information the council needs and be able to pass it on.
There is a list of charges if you'd like to see the
Sure.
billing.
What month are they from?
This one,
The,
this was billing through March 31st.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if there's, I haven't received another
No, that's all I have.
invoice.
That's all I was
Currently.
forwarded.
Sure. Don, did you want to see the invoice? Do you want me to?
No, I'm
Do it more?
simply concerned that we're 3 times over
Right.
the budget. That's.
Right, right. Well, I think actually it may have been a good idea to take a look at this prior to today's meeting. That's something we'll have to talk about too. And this is the budget that is in our contract that we have for each of the 5 years of the contract, and then we can approve budget modifications, or at the beginning of the year, the fiscal year, we should adjust that also.
Okay, do you have something to weigh in?
2 things. Was anything backed out for the monies, for the CON applications that went towards the attorneys?
Any of the money is backed out.
Backed out, because the CON applications require money to go towards the attorneys.
Yes.
Is that 1,500 still that money that should be taken out, or the money that was paid by the CON applicants?
This charge was for is that what you're saying? General matters only, not for
Other than-
any, other than.
Yeah, I got separate bills for the CON stuff.
I have asked for them to submit bills for each CON matter,
Right.
to keep them
Do it
separately so
separately.
that we can, yeah,
Okay.
and separate from the general matters, which is the only thing that I include in my report.
Okay. And to like, one more thing.
Go ahead.
The work that Don is doing with this budget is unbelievable. If you have ever had the opportunity to work with
Trying to.
the grant
I do need help at times, and I still need help now.
and the trips
Look at
that
Scott
I've taken
smile.
to Albany, and they speak very highly of the way she works. And I know of councils that don't even bother putting in for reimbursement.
They don't.
So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. But I thank you to the people that also helped me, and it's still a learning process, and everything keeps changing, and new requirements and that. Eventually, we will have to have some type of independent audit. I have to look into that too, just, that's a state requirements. We'll be discussing that in the future too.
Okay, for clarity, my question wasn't about you, it was just simply the fact.
Oh,
that-
I don't take it as that, you should as board
No,
members.
I think if Brian was here, we'd probably have a discussion about transferring the money, but I'm not sure where we want to go with that yet. So I think we're just going to wait and probably at least start discussing it maybe at the executive board meeting.
Right. That
then
may
we
be
can-
better ways of handling things and keeping track, because it's a legitimate question and it should be handled, and as board members, you should be asking questions.
Do I have a motion?
Staff will
Whichever one you want to pick.
Staff will strike.
All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? Medical Advisory Committee. Greg, do you have anything?
No.
No. All right. New York State Council, Greg.
A meeting coming up on the 14th in the wonderful town of Troy, New York. Home of,
RPI.
yes. And so we'll have some on that. I didn't get the agenda yet, so I can't share anything on that yet.
All right. Erie County, Greg.
Erie County does exist.
That's good.
We're having a fine time right now, as you know, or was brought up that we did put in for special for sponsorship. Our intent is to help and work with UBMD and Scott to try to deliver programs in a good way that we can use each other's resources back and forth. So hopefully we'll be able to move ahead on that. I'll let Tracy talk about her stuff.
So we're planning an open house for EMS Week on May 24th, and we're working in partnership with Catholic Health, and the location we're still trying to firm up at this point. We have some scheduling issues, but it'll be the typical open house with round robin public workshops. You come in, the public will do a separately hands-only CPR, car seat safety check, some blood pressure checks, and some other activities there. So if any agency is, doesn't have anything planned and would like to partner, or if you do have something planned and would still like to partner, we're hoping to get a couple of different companies there with some apparatus and ambulances that the kids and families can take a look at and walk through, do some tours. And so just let us know after if you're interested in that. And then step of lead, I don't know if you've mentioned, many of you may have heard this through other venues, but Erie and Niagara County's Medical Reserve Corps submitted for a collaborative grant, and we received some funding to do a step of lead trainer program. So they had the first training with that instructor pool last night, and Dan, you went to training?
Yep, those are the two.
So I wasn't able to make it, but Jim can probably give a better estimate how many instructors were there.
There was over a dozen folks that were trained up to be able to go out and teach. We had about 25, 30 people total, but part of that was a group. Niagara University students, they're not ready to teach yet. They're first year nursing students, and probably best that they're not teaching yet. But everybody else that was there stuck around for the extra time and went through the instructor portion.
So we'll be starting to roll that out, and hopefully that'll lessen the load that some of the other agencies are getting with these constant requests to go out in the community and do that program. So both Erie and Niagara County will have kits available and some supplies to go out and do that.
We also posted the test for the ALS coordinator. The good news is, it's a county position. Bad news is, they work with me. The test is going to be given in June. You can find it online for anybody who's interested. The major requirements are IC and paramedic certifications. Other than that, it's the general requirements. Also, we just finished canvassing for the assistant fire deputy coordinator, and we'll be doing interviews over the next couple of weeks. And hopefully by early June, mid-June, we'll have an assistant to the deputy fire in place, as well as an assistant fire. So those things are happening. And preparedness and EMS, we're working with UB in response to temperature extremes. Particularly, we take care of the preparedness and the EMS side. We're working with police, fire, other agencies on how we prepare for temperature extremes. Anybody want to gather what Buffalo's in there for? No? No takers? I was in for the temperature one myself, the hot temperature myself. But they're gonna be here in June. We're gonna hold a little symposium up at, we're not sure where it's probably gonna be, and I'll make sure that the date gets out for everybody who wants to attend it. We're discussing how not only we can change responses and preparedness, but they're also looking at the school architecture is involved and how architecture can actually alter retaining heat, giving off heat and stuff like that. I think you get a free trip to Tempe out of it, by the way, for approximately 36 hours. So I'll send that information out.
All right, thank you. Wyoming County, Bill?
We believe spring is finally right out in Wyoming County. We're just gearing up for our different carnivals, festivals during the course of the year, so that's about it. County Wyoming.
All right, thank you. West New York Stress.
We're fortunate enough to have a representative. I can give you a quick little report. In 2017, I'll let you go over your numbers. And just to let you know, because we discussed this last meeting, in 2017, 241 attendees to the briefing happened. Out of 20 debriefings that they did, and they affected 38 agencies just in 2017. And already this year we're up. We've had 4 programs where they've seen 4 different agencies and 76 providers. And that's not even the trainings that you've done. The trainings in 2017, I can't do the math that fast, but it looks like it's over 100 students trained over 7 different programs, and right now they've had 4 programs already done for this year with 117 attendees. So it's been a pretty busy organization. And Tom Luke is here, just to give you a little background, answer any questions, and appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Greg asked me if I would come to the meeting and give a little bit of background on what the Western New York Stress Reduction Program is and what we do. We are a not-for-profit corporation that formed in 1987. We've been in existence for 31 years. And our mission statement is to provide critical incident stress management services to emergency responders in Erie, Wyoming, Niagara, Genesee County on a 24/7, 365 basis. Okay, so that we can minimize stress-related injury to our responders. Our service area started out with Wyoming-Erie, but we subsequently added Niagara and Genesee counties. We didn't go looking for them; they came to us for us because they felt that the service was valuable and they wanted it for their people. We've also been asked by other counties if they can come on board as well, but we don't have the resources to do that. We've had to tell them no. We are working with them to develop those resources. If it's possible to do that, then we can bring on those additional counties as well. The way it all started was back in 1985. Dr. Jeff Mitchell, Dr. Jeff was a PhD. He was doing a master's thesis on critical incident stress. Nobody knew about what existed, and he developed the process of critical incident stress debriefing deal. He wrote an article in Jeff's magazine, which I read. I then went to a conference in Baltimore, which was specific around this, where he spoke about others as well. I came home, and at the time, Erie Community College was putting on conferences similar to the Greater Buffalo EMS conference. And I put on a workshop telling people what it was, what I had heard, and everything else. Within a month, people started showing up at my door. They knew I was somebody who knew something about this, they needed help. I even had somebody come from Rochester, from Syracuse, and even from Erie, Pennsylvania. How they got my name, how they found out, I don't know. There wasn't any Facebook or anything else yet. It was just word of mouth. So they showed up, and it was getting to the point where it interfered with my ability to do my job. So there was a real need for it. So in 1987, what I would do is I would put the outline on the floor, and as I'm talking to them, I'd keep looking down to make sure I'm doing the right thing, because that was in over my head at that point in time. You know, I had some background in psychology, but not in specifically what we were doing here. And so because of the need, the Western New York Stress Reduction Program was formed, and Mike Walters was the original president. And we now have approximately 40 members, police, fire, clergy, and mental health. They're all volunteers like that to take. Membership in the organization must submit an application. They have to be interviewed and vetted. Then they have to take appropriate training, and then they have to do an internship with members of the team. And nobody goes out alone. Everybody goes out with somebody, usually a mental health, and a peer counselor. The peer counselor is a person who's in the service, who's been there. They know the unique situation and environment that the people are in. So it's not somebody who's just doing something theoretically. It's something that somebody that actually understands it. Okay. And we are not mental health. We are not a person who has a therapeutic relationship or looks for outcomes. We are education and support. It's kind of like, I guess you talk about high school peer counselors, high school level EMS, and fire as well. So our goal is not therapeutic outcomes, but help them understand that they're having a normal reaction to a very abnormal situation, and to provide some tools for them to understand what it is, what they may experience, and how they can deal with it. We don't tell them what they need to do. We give them the tools to be able to deal with it on their own. And if they need extra help, we can model that has kept us viable and relevant for the past 30 years. The services we provide are pre-incident education. Anybody who wants education on stress, we offer it free of charge. All you have to do is call our office at Erie County Division of EMS. We'll send somebody out. We'll make it for as long as you want. We can make it a full session or part of your meeting or whatever it is that you want. Okay, so that's to give people some tools before anything should happen, and have some understanding to be able to deal with it better when it does. We also offer critical incident stress diffusing. Now, diffusings are usually happen right after the incident. Some people may call and want something right away. Being on scene, only a few times we've been on scene. Usually that's due to definite infant. Most everybody has a hard time with that. But the diffusing is usually after they come back to the call, they get to the fire hall, they start to unwind, they start to decompress. Then we talk about some of the things that they go through, not to be too worried about them, how they can deal with them, and if necessary, we'll do a formal debriefing. Debriefing usually happens within 24 to 48 hours, no more than 72, because people need time to process what they're going through. And when they do, sometimes they're fine at that point in time, they're able to deal with it themselves, or they're going to need something additional. If the people with that 100-mile stare, or somebody who just can't cope with what it is that they're dealing with. So that's a debriefing. And then we do follow-ups as well, usually the next day, within a week and a month, just to make sure that everybody's okay. If they need us to come back, we will. We also do standbys at times. For instance, National Flight 3407, we were there at the fire hall just off of Ground Zero, and we were there, the Red Cross was there too, and other organizations. Just as people came in off the pile, and if they look like they're having a hard time wanting to talk, we just kind of wandered around, talked to them. Nothing intrusive, nothing asking them, just how are you doing? Maybe talk to your family today, have you had food, have you water, so on and so forth. And kind of reality therapy, just bringing them back out of that crazy chaos into some normal reality. Also, line of duty deaths, we stood by at funerals and wakes too. The fire chief calls us, asks us that we're there. And if anybody seems overwhelmed, they need to talk, the fire chief will direct them towards us. If nobody does, then that's fine. Okay. We also do groups and individuals as well, if we need to. And we sponsor International Critical Incident Stress Foundation courses, which anyone can take. I would encourage if you're interested in it. Normally, if you take these courses, it's going to cost you anywhere from $350 to $400. We offer them for less than $100. The reason for that is because there you get a certificate from the ICISF. But the reason for that is we feel that it's more important to get the education out there for people than it is to make money on it. So it's not a money maker, it's not a profit thing, it's a service to the EMS community. And those courses are assisting individuals in crisis, group crisis intervention, advanced group crisis intervention, and suicide intervention, prevention, and post-mission. This is what Greg just mentioned. Okay, those are the ones that are offered. And they are conducted by Bonnie Frazier, who's I'm sure a lot of people know her. She's the one who does our training for us, and every 2 years we send her to the World Congress on Stress and Coping to get the latest information so that can be incorporated into the training programs. We also sponsor a chaplain's corps. Chaplain's corps is Father Joe. People that know Father Joe, unless you're not in Erie County. He's like Batman, he's everywhere. And he is on the chaplain's corps, and a Reverend Steve Bigner and Father Grobiak, and one other whose name I just can't think of right now. But they call it the Ministry of Presence. If there's a bad situation, they simply show up, but they're there just so that people know that they're there. Somebody's supporting them, somebody cares. If they have difficulty, they can talk to them. Okay, but then that's not a debriefing or a diffusing. It's simply somebody who's there for reality therapy for them. And then afterwards, if necessary, they should have a debriefing or diffusing. Okay, we also have a police health line, which is an offshoot, separate, but it's by cops for cops. Because police, we found out over the years, just don't attend debriefings. They kind of have to keep up a front. They can't admit if something bothers them. So we used to do this in different ways. We had police on the team, and essentially what happened is they would call somebody up, there's a bad situation, say, hey, let's go out for coffee. And they would sit there and talk, and they didn't know whether they were being debriefed. So now we have a police helpline where police can call in a number, they will take their number, a policeman will call back. It's all confidential, and everything is confidential. Anything we do doesn't go anywhere, except for numbers, where we do and what organizations they are. But other than that, everything else is confidential. And the police line now has an offshoot for families of police support them, but their budgets are separate from ours. And they're doing some things for the families as well. The way our call-outs go out, I have left some handouts here in case anyone wants to look at them, but the numbers we call, each of the 4 counties are there. I know Erie County's first control. They will call Jim Rieger, the fire coordinator for Erie County, who then assembles a team and sends us out to whatever unit wants us. Sometimes things are slow, which is good. Sometimes things are very busy. During the crash in 3107 or 3407, we did, in a week and a half, we did over 150 people, both separately and in groups as well. But had some line of duty deaths, firemen, things like that. In a period of a couple of days, we did over 50 individuals. So those are very busy times, and it can be very taxing in their resources because everybody has their own jobs, their own life, and they're all volunteers. They don't get paid. As I said, everything we do is confidential, and to function, we rely on donations from fire companies and other organizations such as this one. We really appreciate your support. And we receive in-kind services from the Division of EMS. We don't deny services to anyone, regardless if they donate or not. Anybody that calls us, we will go. Last Sunday, I was on my way to a family birthday party when I was covering the call and sent out teams. Something happened where the chief wanted somebody there right away, right then and there. So I turned my car around and that's where I went. They provided a service for them. Lately, 2 years ago, Colonel Cheatham of the U.S. Air Force, Air Force Special Forces, talked about resiliency in emergency services and in the military. We have to find a way to keep people resilient, not just to deal with things as they come along, but to keep them going every day. You know, they have personal lives, they have family lives, and everything else. How do we keep them resilient enough to be able to handle those things, plus the stress of their new jobs? And he mentioned all the things involved in that. One of the big parts of it is critical incident stress, the knowledge of it, and how to deal with it as well. And what we provide is a big part of that resiliency program. And I guess I need to mention too that you may have heard that critical incident stress debriefings are harmful. They do more harm than good, and they should never happen. And many textbooks have taken it out for the textbooks because it doesn't work. Well, the only thing I can say about that is that bad research, number one. If you looked at the definition of what they were studying, almost all of them were different. Nobody studied the same thing. And to give you an example, during 9/11, they were stress counselors there, and people said that was a good idea when they had stress counselors on their t-shirt because they knew the people to stay away from. Okay. And then basically, a policeman who was on duty for 2 days was very, very tired. I talked to this individual at one of the conferences. He said, I was asleep, I just had to get some sleep. I didn't feel I could go off duty. I found a concrete stoop at a closed store, and I fell asleep there. Somebody poked me. And I looked up, and this woman who said, I'm a stress counselor, and I think I can help you. He said, lady, I've been on duty for 2 days. All I need to do is sleep, so please leave me alone. And she said, I think I can help you sleep better. He said, but I'm sleeping fine as it is. And she said, no, I think I can help you sleep better. He said, lady, get away from her, I'll freaking shoot you. That's it, in it all out. That's not critical as stress. You know, when you do debriefings is after everything is all over. What people need at that point in time is the reality there. Here's some water, here's a new pair of socks, you dry boots, have you called your family, have you taken some rest, have you done something like this? It's services for them at that point in time. And the things that they studied, you know, were kind of things that had nothing to do with what critical debriefing is. And I'm not a person who is a bleeding heart. I don't chase rainbows. I've been in emergency medical services since 1965. I'm still practicing paramedic with Boston Emergency Squad, and I was the director of paramedic education for 34 years here at Community College before I retired. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to get up at night or just do family functions, things like that, to do something that could hurt somebody and not do any good. And I think that 30 years and 1,000 or more people that we've served and people continue to call us is proof that it does help and that it does help. Do you have any questions? Yes.
Tom, is there any other organization in the area that does what we do?
No, not that I'm aware of. There is one in Rochester, Dan McCarthy, I think his name is. I don't know if that's still there. Still doing it. There was one other one in Niagara County a long time ago, but they went by the wayside. Any other questions? Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
Thank you. That's okay.
And here are some of the handouts with some information if anybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, committee reports. Budget, nothing. Membership? And
I got a letter, email from Ann. We have re-applications still pending for opening Steve Yohe, Michael Shaw, and Lynn O'Donnell, so she's gonna address that, and they're all from Erie County.
systems.
As you know, we had the, Mark couldn't be here tonight, so he hasn't been give a report. As you know, we had the town of Perry, so that's accomplished, thank you. And thank you to our members of the systems committee for all their diligent efforts in that one. And we also have been on our radar, the town of Alden. We did receive an email yesterday at 11 o'clock at night from their attorney stating that they are putting the final touches and they expect to be submitting an application for committee review sometime this week. They expire their current CON on the 23rd of August. So we anticipate that coming down the pike.
Thank you. Training and education, Chris.
Nothing. I've got applications, but that's it.
Bylaws. It's not here, does anybody know?
You want to report?
We met.
All right.
It was pretty productive.
Cool.
Tom's not here apparently.
Tom's not here.
Or it's JP.
No.
But I think we're gonna have something for a vote at the next meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully, I think wanted to have it ready to go at this meeting, but evidently that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. Awards and PR, Greg?
If I
Oh.
can just back up.
Yep.
Attorney Ed, you did receive our application for the special correspondence, correct?
It's under new business.
For awards, it's awards time, all right? We did have 9 categories filled out of I think it's 10. And thanks to the folks who helped out on the committee, Madonna, Paniak, Dan Rogers, Dan McCartan, Tim Shaw, for the strikers. And Cheryl Mayer. They got back in a short period of time. We required them to have the application submitted by 4/20, so we could turn around because the state requires it to be postmarked for May 1st. So get all that in. I have the list of names here. The folks have not been aware, they haven't been told yet, so I'd rather hold the names and then I'll distribute it by email if it's okay. I'd rather have them be notified that they got to work before people start calling and tell them they got it. The dinner's for the 7/18 at 6 p.m. at the Columns over in Elma on Transit Road. Madonna is picking the menu. Apparently, she does not like the rubber chicken breasts. Yeah. I know how to eat, trust me, and she's taking it away from me.
I asked if I could help, and you said, sure.
You're strongly recommended.
Tried to get something that some things that everyone would enjoy.
All right, we do have one, Demi, Board of Talks will take care of my award there, and then we'll have some, well, the same thing as last year, they'll get a clock that has their name on it, and the award they got, and then they'll get a certificate that is brand new. We're changing the color this year. And they are submitted to the state. I have a return receipt that they have it, and so hopefully we'll move up and get a local award for the state. The committee meets in September, right? That's an open meeting. Do they make a decision then? Or they just review?
I don't think so, because the selection committee is, you never know who they are.
Yeah.
They don't disclose that.
Okay, so we'll have no foresight. The only concern I have is that people are notified that they didn't get the state award, and we don't know it yet. We look kind of foolish, right? Programs already said, we're ready to go. July 18th, well, it's fine time, it's gonna be a nice night, part of the cloudy, and a Christmas movie.
Right. Sounds good. Any questions for Gil? New York State Department of Health. I guess we have, you've got, oh, look, there he is.
Hi.
My name's Ed Major. I'm the regional EMS program manager, administrator, whatever you want to call me, out of the Buffalo office. Jim Halco, unfortunately couldn't make it. It would have been his last meeting tonight. He's retiring at the end of May. If you haven't heard, certainly we'll end up missing him. But so the region, for the 17 county area, it'll be myself on the Buffalo side, Ross Astro on the sort of the Rochester side. I'm the supervisor. I have a real difficult time supervising one guy, but who does hard worker and just like so he's never in the office. I don't know where he is. So, but anyhow, anything that the regional office can do to help you, we're sort of a scarce resource, limited resource. We try to help as much as we can, but I'm going to try to attend as many of these meetings as I possibly can. And if there's anything that you guys need or anything out of the central office that we can assist with, we try to do our best to be on the same page and sort of mitigate through some of the bureaucratic processes and things to that effect. Just a reminder, EMS Memorial is coming up May 23rd at the Empire Plaza. Vital Signs is rapidly approaching. The only other thing I wanted to mention, if you haven't heard, we have a new bureau director, Lee's replacement. His name is Ryan Greenberg. He does plan to come out to the some of the regional councils. I don't know exactly. He plans to come into the Buffalo area in June, so I'm not sure what his intentions are. I've talked to him very briefly on the phone. It sounds like he's a field paramedic. He's got extensive management background. He's developed hospital EMS-based systems throughout New Jersey, New York City is my understanding. He seems to be, we had about an hour conference call with him, and if he accomplishes a quarter of what he said that his vision is, he seems to be very open, transparent, and wants to move the EMS system forward. So we're quite optimistic about that. I've had about a 3-minute conversation other than the hour conference call, so I can pick him up from Facebook. That's about it probably, but seems like a nice guy, and I hope he's going to do good things for the system. So anyhow, thank you, and if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them, or I'll be here afterwards.
What's his name?
Ryan Greenberg is his name.
Greenberg?
Greenberg, it's
Yep,
B-E-R-G, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I got a letter from Jim. He sent me a goodbye letter.
Okay, thank you.
No, very short one. It says, please express to the council members my gratitude for all the work they do for our EMS community. It has been a pleasure and a dream job I have held for 30 years. Again, thanks to everyone. Jim. That's that.
All right, Executive Board, we canceled the last meeting due to attendance in a storm watch. The next meeting is June 6th at Erie County, and we are still working on updating the program agency agreement. Program agency.
A report was sent out this afternoon, so you can see all of the notices and the training information that we've disseminated. Several of you were at the Greater Buffalo EMS Conference, and it was our strongest attendance. Conference is kind of funny. And on a national level, we've been receiving attendance at some of the bigger conferences just tapering off. Some of the local conferences seem to be gaining some momentum, and we're happy to see that, at least locally. The feedback was really phenomenal. Some people have some concerns with the venues. We are actually on Friday. We're going to be out scouting some alternative venues for next year's event. The dates are set, and it's going to be for the 5th and the 6th for 2019. Easter's a little bit later next year, so it kind of shifted some stuff around with breaks. The REMAC credentialing period is open, so this is usually where I turn into the Grim Reaper of EMS on behalf of the REMAC. So as you're talking to services, please remind them that between now and June 30th, and please don't wait till June 30th because my blood pressure will raise significantly. Get these things turned in. You can submit it anytime from now until June 30th. Do it now, because if there's a problem, we have time to correct it before there's issues when the July 1st deadline comes around. And this is for your annual skills, for skills that have been completed since last July 1st. as well as updating expiration dates and things like that. We're seeing a lot more people utilize the system in perpetuity on a day-to-day basis, which is very encouraging. That's what we want. We know that it's difficult for some of the larger services to do that because they just have many other things going on. But the volunteer services, Millgrove, I gave a shout out today. We didn't even have to send a notice out reminding people to do it. That button's not there until May 1st. It turns on automatically. They must have had a reminder in their calendar to tell them to go back on May 1st and submit the report. And that's fantastic because that's what we want on more services. They had everything there. It was all said and done. All they had to do was hit submit. And now they're done till next year. EMS Week we've already talked about in the Memorial Dedication. We have the Certified Instructor Update course that's going to be held on June 16th at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport Fire Department. We cannot formally announce that class on our listserv until we get the course number and approval from the Bureau to do that. So course sponsors who are in the room, please kind of softly share that with your instructional faculty to save the date in their calendars. But we can't promote these classes. That's been problematic in regions previously. So we have a PCR service scheduled at Clarence Center on Tuesday, June 12th. Again, that will go out next week, Tuesday. We try to live in the 5-week window. And two things that are not on my report. The first thing is that the May REMAC meeting today was canceled, and that's because the meeting date was slated for what is the SEMSCO meeting date. They're the same. So they canceled May. We meet in June anyway, so they'll meet again on June 20th, I think is the date. And then the last thing is Dr. Michael O'Brien, who is the chair of the REMAC, and is also a medical director of Mercy Flight, Erie County EMS. No, I thought he was. Anyway, but he's leaving and going back to Chicago. So he is he's going to be leaving Western New York, and he's really going to be sorely missed. If you were at the conference and you heard him present, the guy's just super dynamic, and so we're going to really miss him. It took us 4 years to get a new REMAC chair the last time, so it's probably going to be interesting moving forward. But if you see him at ECMC or VA, and just wish him well. If you have his email, shoot him a farewell. But his last day is June 30th, so he'll be gone before our next council meeting date. Any questions for me at all? Thank you.
Thank you. Old business? Does anybody have old business? No? New business? The Erie County Specialty Course Sponsor Application.
I talked to Greg already. He gave me the application. I got it today, and I tried to forward it to everybody so you could at least look at it before we came to the meeting tonight. But I think it'd be fair if the Education Committee look at this. I don't see a problem with this application thus far. One of the roles of the Education Committee, because I looked to see what we're responsible for, and it really doesn't say much other than making sure there's adequate courses being provided in our area. And that's really it. So this is adequate course. You know, they're offering course sponsors, instructor updates and everything. So that's one of the things we want to look at. So what do the other people, what do you all feel about this, I guess? I think the Education Committee should look at it and make a recommendation at the next meeting.
I would support that.
And I think in upcoming meetings, I think we should have our course sponsors come in and start talking about how they're promoting their EMT paramedic classes. I know the county does really good. I see the class sizes, they're good. But I think ECC is struggling with their EMT program and how they're going to try to fix that. Obviously, I have the paramedics there, but the EMTs the numbers are very minimal that they get out of the ECC class, which is unfortunate, but your classes are a little cheaper. So.
We're fiscally responsible.
What's that? Yes. So, do you have any problems with us holding off and making a vote on this application at the January meeting, or July meeting?
July.
Please, I know. It's bedtime.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe a motion?
We get a motion for that?
I mean, I would make a motion, we table it until July meeting at this meeting.
We'll do it because you made the motion, I'll second it. To table it till the next July meeting.
All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? So moved.
Thank you.
And the next part of new business, the New York State Department of Health Forum for the proposed stroke center designation changes. Brian attended it on April 24th. There was a discussion about changing the criteria in the designated stroke centers in the upcoming future to like a primary one and a comprehensive one. But there's no guidance. There's still guidance issues for EMS at this meeting. So there'll be more protocol and advisory changes for EMS in the future when New York State decides on all these destination processes and levels. And Brian will keep us updated as these changes come about. Yes?
Having also been in the room sitting next to Brian, the big change for this is that the State Department of Health is getting out of the designation business. Just like they did with the trauma center designations, they got out of the business of doing it, and it's American College of Surgeons that verifies, like EZMC is an example of it, verified trauma center. They are looking at 4 different accrediting bodies. One of them will, hopefully, they will be selected if they fit certain criteria. They will be going forward. It would be that organization, like the Joint Commission or DNV, which is another one of the accrediting bodies that hospitals have, that would actually be the accrediting entity. And they would do the assessment, they would do the visit, the Department of Health wouldn't be making any of the visits anymore, the site verifications. The accrediting body they would then recommend to the DOH that yes, we've visited hospital A, they have met the criteria that the state has said you must meet in order to be designated as a stroke center. And then once they get that, then we'll be up to the state to be like, okay, you met it, here's the data, they still get the data sent to them, and then they can give it their blessing. Is that pretty much?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. The doctor who's in charge of it had rolled it out at the last subsequent meeting, I think, which was one that was sort of canceled, I think. But they wasn't, don't go quote me on that, but you know, he talked about the verification process and the change to exactly what Dan had said about the verification process going to sort of third-party entities. However, the state would still, in a sense, designate. At the time he spoke, he was like, they were not going to do the difference between comprehensive and you know, sort of regional stroke centers. We just say you're a stroke center, and then there's all these additional accreditations that, depending on the entity that is selected, you can have all these different criteria. As you see, several of the stroke centers are already either designated or accredited by, in a sense, accrediting agencies, but they're not affiliated with the state at this point. So it's going to take at least to the end of 2018 into 2019 to officially make those changes and to get that process basically through the regulatory and you know, in all the hoops that they've got to jump through. So more to follow, I guess, is the message.
The one thing is that from a hospital standpoint is that you may see the number of hospitals that actually apply for it decreasing. Because as an example, if the state selects DNV as the accrediting body, and most of us hospitals are accredited by the Joint Commission, that would mean that we would have to pay for the Joint Commission to survey and accredit us for everything else. And then we have to pay extra money to have DNV accredit us for strokes. Some hospitals will be able to afford that additional expense, which is pretty hefty. And others may be just saying, yeah, you know, forget it. So there were more hospital folks at the meeting than there were pre-hospital folks. So more to follow. But this is going to be a multi-year process to get this to fruition.
Right. I entertain a motion.